What's up everyone and welcome back. So yesterday we wrapped up the track car and everything ran great, but when I went to go push in the clutch, still felt a little bit mushy and the clutch wouldn't engage properly. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you how to bleed the clutch all by yourself. We're actually going to go over a few different ways of doing this, so stay tuned. Okay, so bleeding the clutch. What's actually the purpose of all this? Well, when I installed the new engine, I installed a brand new slave cylinder. And when you install a new slave cylinder, there's air in the lines and the actual cylinder. So you need to bleed the clutch. And to do this, the traditional way is to actually have somebody inside the car pumping the clutch pedal in and out to compress the fluid, and then hold the clutch pedal in, have someone below release the bleeder valve and let the air come out, then close it and then pump it just like you would do on your brakes. So there's a few ways to do this actually by yourself. And the one I'm going to show you today is the one-man brake bleeding system with, it has a built-in check valve in the hose. The other way to do this is a power bleeder. And I actually wrote a blog about this, and I'll put it in the link below. And you can go read about this. It's another good solution, but I kind of wanted to go over this because it's the cheaper solution, and I think a lot more of you at home will rather do this than the actual brake power bleeder. So let's get started. Okay, so here's all our options. First we have the Motiv Products Power Bleeder, and I've actually been using this for about 4 or 5 years now. Essentially, it's a container that you can add brake fluid in, and that seals off on top, and then you pump this up to put pressure in it, and this will connect to the top of your brake reservoir, and it will put positive pressure in the whole system. So essentially you can go to each brake caliper or the clutch and open and close it, and it will force fluid out. It's a really good solution. Like I said, I wrote a blog on it, but these run about $55. So if you don't want to go that route, I also sell these on my website, and this is a one-man bleeder system with a check valve. So the check valve actually allows fluid, to go one way, but it will not fluid to go back. And that's the whole thing when you're bleeding brakes or clutches, is you don't want to put air back into the system, right? So when you push the clutch pedal, fluid will come down here, and when you hold it, and then when you release the pedal, usually it will suck fluid back up and put air back into the system. That's essentially why you have to have the person close the bleeder on the outside when you do this. So if you don't have another person, you can use this, and when you hook it all up, you can continually press the brake pedal or the clutch pedal, and it's going to allow fluid to come down, but it will not allow air to come back up because of this one-way check valve, right? So this is a very easy solution. I sell these for around 20 bucks. And then I also sell the brake bleeder bottles. I have a small version like this, and with a magnet, which you can put onto your caliper or rotor. And then I also have a bigger version which also has a magnet as well, and this one also comes with a little holder or lanyard, so you can wrap it around something in the wheel well to hold the bottle as you're bleeding. And then lastly, you're going to need brake fluid as well, which I sell on the website as too. So we're going to go over this today, and let's get to it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and install the bleeder hose. Just keep in mind this hose has on the check valve, has an arrow to show which way, if I can get this look right, to show which way the fluid goes. So just keep that in mind when you install it. Okay, so we have the bleeder hose installed onto the slave cylinder here. And like I said, bring this down here. I have it hooked up to the bottle here, which has, I just have the lanyard hanging from a bolt here. But if you didn't want to do that, it has a magnet on here, and I could clip it to something like that, or the rotor, or exhaust or something like that. So just a few different options. So now that everything's hooked up, we'll get in the car and start pumping the brake or the clutch pedal. Keep in mind, before we do that, we're actually going to open up the bleeder valve screw right there. So now that everything's hooked up, the bleeder valve or the check valve should not allow any air to get back in the system. So essentially I can just keep pumping this Now it will be soft until you go and close the system, right? Because right now we're just pushing fluid and air out of it. It's a completely open system. So make sure the brake fluid is always filled up, and keep pumping it and hold it every once in a while to keep pushing the fluid out. Alright, so after you do that, you're going to hop out of the car, get back underneath, and you can see fluid has gone into the bottle, and fluid is allowed to go here, but the top portion is completely filled with brake fluid. Let's see if I can. The top portion of the hose is completely filled with brake fluid and no air, where the bottom actually has air and fluid in it. So it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So when you're done, you're just going to tighten up the bleeder screw right here, and then remove out of the hoses, and let's check to see if the clutch works. Alright, so we're back in the car, and when I immediately press the clutch pedal, it feels very, very firm like it's supposed to. So it worked. Now let's start it up and see if you know, the clutch actually engages. Alright, so we can actually see the drive shaft through the trans tunnel here. So we should be able to see if the clutch actually engages. So I push in the clutch, put it in first gear, and I'll slowly release it. And you can see the drive shaft is starting to move. So looks like everything works. So let's head back out of the car and wrap this up. Alright, so real quick, I wanted to show you this before I wrap things up. But you can see there's fluid, obviously, in the left side of this tube. And then where the check valve is, there's no fluid. So if I dump this upside down, no fluid is getting back into it. So that's what I mean, where you're able to actually bleed your whole entire system by just using this tube, because it will not allow air back into the system. So if this is what you're looking for, then I highly suggest it. It's worked great for me so far, and saved me a ton of time, especially when you don't have anyone else around to help you bleed these systems. So alright, let's get back to the whiteboard. Okay, so that's it. Like I said, it's a very easy job, very simple solution to bleeding your brakes or bleeding your clutch. The power bleeder is a great method. Like I said, I still use it sometimes, but it's a little more expensive. Like I said, around $55. If you want to try the brake bleeder hose with the check valve, it's another great option. I highly suggest you guys do it. But other than that, it saves a lot of time if you don't have an extra person around, an extra foot to you know, press the brake pedal while you open and close that bleeder valve. This is a very good solution. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you like these videos, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Other than that, see you next time. Thanks.